Hey guys, welcome to Repitch. I'm Richard, and this is my co-host David.
Hey guys, how you guys doing?
And today for Repitch, we have a interesting topic that's definitely been happened before. But what happened to you, basically?
So this has come up again. Tarantino, of course, he's always, what do you call it, in the forefront, very against the Marvel movies that are coming out these days. It's not the first time he's made mention to it, and he's not the only director who's made mention to how they're kind of sick of this Marvelization of Hollywood. Now, specifically, what he was saying was that so his actual quote is part of the Marvelization of Hollywood is you have all these actors who become famous playing these characters, but they're not movie stars, right? Captain America is the star. Thor is the star. I'm not the first person to say that. I think that's been said a zillion times. But it's these franchise characters that become the star. So based off of that has sparked a lot of hate, and especially from Simu Liu. He came out and tweeted against that. And, I see both sides kind of. But, yeah, what are your thoughts on this, Richard?
I mean, to be honest, David, it's just another act. It's another director. It's another, Scorsese said it. Who else said it? Like, a bunch of people have said it. Like, oh, times are changing. Marvel's all here. I'm like, bro, like, that's the way things go. Like, before it was just black and white with no noise, then sound came along. Before it was just, classy films and stuff like that, then blockbusters came along and things change. And like, in the culture and season we're in, it happened to be like superheroes and Marvel. And like, I honestly, like, I'm not a biggest Tarantino fan. Like, I understand people love him. I think he's like, okay, I'm gonna say this very carefully. I understand why people like him. I just think he's like, okay, yeah, sure. I think it's the same way. It's the same way I feel about who's your favorite director, David? I keep forgetting. He did The Dark Knight.
Oh, Nolan.
Like, I understand why people like him, but like, personally, like, it doesn't do anything for me.
All right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, with that said, you know what they bring to the table, and you recognize that they are, directing giants in this industry, right?
Yeah. I understand, like, yeah, their name and what their opinion has weight, but I don't think he's right. Like, no one is saying, yo, I really want to watch Simu Liu. He's my favorite Marvel character. Like, no one knows who Shang-Chi is. No one knew what that was going to the theaters. But they want to go and like, hey, there's an Asian actor that kind of looks like me. Like, I really want to see that. And like, and it really blew up Simu Liu, and he did a great job. I mean, you and I have our opinion on that movie.
Yeah,
we repitched it, but him being in it, that was the right casting, and it's great to see an Asian superhero. Hopefully, they do a greater job. But yeah, I don't think, I mean, they're okay. Like, yeah, sure, there's two sides to it, but like look at Robert Downey Jr. He is Iron Man,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you cannot, what do you call it, take away one person without the other. When you think about Iron Man, you can't help but think of Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
Even Captain America, like, the first thing you think of is, hey, Chris, what's his name? I forget his last. That's not Pine. That's too many
does that speak to the point though? Like,
huh? No, everyone in this podcast that listens knows I'm terrible with names, so like, it's no difference.
No, I see what you're saying on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Robert Downey Jr. Definitely one off though. Like, he's a giant. He was a giant before the Marvel movies. He had his own issues with that though, with his own life before he got his redemption. But he was he's established himself before that. Chris Evans, I would say, like, Marvel definitely lifted his career up a lot more.
Oh yeah.
And
you could say that about other actors too, like Chris Pratt, Dave Bautista, and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Marvel has paved the way for a lot of these actors to, and Simu Liu is also another one for sure. And just to bring you the quote that the tweet that he tweeted was, if the only gatekeepers to the movie stardom came from Tarantino and Scorsese, I would never have had the opportunity to lead a $400 million plus movie.
which is very sadly true.
Which is yeah,
If
this
you read,
that's why like I do agree with him on that. Like I get it. Like during the times that Tarantino, Scorsese brought these movies out, like yeah, they brought their own. He probably wouldn't have had the success
no,
that he
like
has now.
what is Scorsese gonna make an Italian movie, like a mob
Mhm.
movie with Asian actors? No, it's gonna be hire a bunch of white people,
Right.
and it's huge for the minority community. Like you can't say that Black Panther is just another superhero movie. Like culturally, like that movie is so significant. You can't take that away. And like what grinds my gear with Tarantino is that hey, let me put this giant thing that's shaping our culture into a small box and let me just put it aside and put it down.
Now I will say this though. Before he brought out this quote, what his
Mm-hmm.
gripes with this whole Marvel movie star thing, he did say that his main issue with these movies is that it seems like they're the only things being made right now. Like, like getting it shoved down our throats. Which
I mean,
that
yeah.
that he does have a point when it comes to that.
I mean, are you gonna blame Marvel or are you gonna blame the studio? Those are two very different things. You can't blame the actors that are acting in it. I would blame like, hey, like, I mean, like, why is what's his name, James Cameron gonna make five Avatar movies? Because the first one made a lot of money, and like, his goal is to make 2 billion with the second one, which is I don't, it's gonna flop. I can't wait for it. But like, people want what the studios make what they think people want. And people right now are in the trend to like superhero movies.
Right.
And like, hey Tarantino, why don't you make more movies if you have something to say?
I
You
mean,
know?
he that is true. I mean, it's just the timing, of all
Oh yeah.
this. I think Scorsese has also said he's had his issues with Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
He sees them more as like, amusement park, park type of things.
With that, I agree. Yeah.
Which is like he has a point on that. And but
Yeah.
but even Scorsese has said, it's probably because like he's so far off from these movies in this time.
Oh yeah.
Like back when he
Mm-hmm.
was younger, it was like westerns that were like pushed out all the time, and
Mm.
that was the thing. And he also said that maybe if he was born in this era, he would enjoy these movies in the same way. But
Oh
because
yeah.
he's from a different generation, understandably so, and so which is why he doesn't feel the same way about it as a lot of us do.
And like maybe 20 years from now, we're gonna have the same conversation where they're making, I don't know what kind of movies they'll be making 20, 30 years from now. Like back in our days, they used to make really awesome superhero movies. Now they're only making, oh gosh, what's gonna be the trend 30 years from now? Like space movies going to different planets, maybe. I don't know, but maybe even something crazier.
Now, I am curious what the next trend of movies is going to be. I mean, superhero movies, because of how big it is, this thing is going to be around for a long, long time. I mean, they're gonna,
Maybe.
it's gonna be there. I feel like because
Hmm.
the company, the franchise is just it's too big for it to fail at this point now.
I agree.
Like
But people are seeing the cracks. Then like
exactly,
they people are making comments of like phase four. It's these movies are not the best, or especially the Disney Plus shows.
right?
Like
Yeah.
a lot of them are kind of like mid.
No, and it actually goes back to what Tarantino was saying about how it seems like it's the only stuff that's coming out now. The only things that people are talking about and just being pushed out and kind of just shoved in front of our faces.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this though, new Black Panther movie definitely kind of set the bar back up again for all this
Oh,
more.
did it?
Yeah,
I have heard it's. I still have not gotten a chance to watch it. I'm gonna make some time next week. I'll watch it so we can talk about it,
hope
David.
so. Yes.
But yeah, I gotta watch that.
Yeah. But with that being said, Samuel L. Jackson has also come out
What
against.
did he
I
say?
mean, he was against Tarantino. He actually was saying like what's I don't understand where he's coming from with that. Like if the point of success for a movie star is to bring butts to seats, then that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what these guys are doing. And it
Oh
takes
yeah.
a movie actor to play these characters. It's kind of for like people like Chadwick Boseman. He is Black Panther, or he was
Oh
Black
yeah.
Panther.
He will always be Black Panther. I mean, I haven't seen the first movie, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, directors, actors, they're gonna discuss about it, and it's right. I'm sure people made that same discussion when there was like 100 vampire and zombie movies. What, like 5, 10 years
Yep.
ago? That trend, and it's gonna happen. Of course, it's gonna happen.
Hmm. I mean, so obviously you don't agree with what these directors are saying. Do you think they have any right?
I mean, everyone has a right to their opinion, but as a person, we have the right to disagree, which is what we're doing now. So yeah, he can say whatever he wants. Go ahead. I mean,
I mean, I guess the question is more so: do you believe that they have the
authority.
authority to be able to say this
Hmm.
stuff? I'm gonna
I
say.
don't know if he has a. What
I
you
mean,
gonna
I'm
say?
gonna say yes. Like these two
Uh,
guys, and several other directors, they've planted their feet into the industry, and like they people study their movies in film schools. To that point.
hmm.
Um, so they know what they're doing when it comes to cinema and movies, and they've already shown their level of success when it comes to it. And if you're
Hmm.
gonna say that, that's like saying if Michael Jordan coming out and like criticizing these new class of NBA stars, to say that he doesn't have a right, like he's not to say like they're Michael Jordan level.
But like, you know what it is? It's just like it's bad taste kind of thing. I
Right,
feel
right.
like it. I think the way you do it matters. It's just like the way but like, he wasn't being interviewed. He was. It was like a podcast, I believe, right?
Yeah, that was a podcast. Yep.
So it's just like I'm sure he just said it in the top of his mind. He wasn't planning on saying it. It wasn't that. It sounded very petty, and that's my biggest issue. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So that's like my biggest like. That's what annoyed me. Like and again, it's probably like the way world is like. You just keep seeing it, keep hearing it, and people keep talking about it. I think that's what frustrated me the most. Like if he said it, I'm like, oh, whatever. But like because it keeps coming back up,
Right.
because other actors are bringing it up, this whole discussion, that's what's frustrating me. I'm like, bro, like whatever. Oh man, nihilist Richard is coming out. Nothing matters. In the end, we all turn to dust.
So but everything that Tarantino was saying was actually said years before by a Marvel star to say, Anthony Mackie.
Oh, what did this guy
He
say?
said actually the same thing that Tarantino was saying. I think Tarantino was just bringing this point back up by what
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Mackie was saying, where he was saying that these characters are the quote unquote movie stars. People come to
Mm-hmm.
see the Falcon, people come to see Thor, people come to see Captain America. They don't really know who the actors are in that sense. I mean, Anthony Mackie, of course, like you said, he has a right to his opinion, but he was heavily involved in this franchise at that time when he was saying this. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
like you think though that kind of, I mean, seems like bad taste, but like you said, everybody's free to have their own opinions, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So I mean, I just thought I think it's kind of interesting. Everybody kind of hates on Tarantino for bringing up this point, but then it's already
Mm-hmm.
been said by a former or not former, um, solidified Marvel movie star who's he said it years before this.
I'm sure he regrets saying that now.
I mean, yeah, now he's like one of the main guys,
Yeah, he is Captain America now. Is he? Oh, so he's Captain Falcon now. Or whatever he
Captain
goes by.
America.
Oh, he goes by the Nomer.
Yep.
That's awesome. Good for him, man. I mean, just like to be honest, David, whatever he can say whatever he wants. Like he has his own opinion. I have my own. I think, yeah, we live in an era where these superhero movies sell, and like is Marvel. I mean, their stuff they're coming out with is kind of tiring.
Mm.
But like, hey, that if anything, we've seen Marvel pivot and do weirder and more interesting things. And honestly, if that gives it opportunities for more minority actors and minority movie stars and producers and directors to be on stage, I'm all for it.
Yeah, agreed. I think one of the great things about Marvel and this franchise is like you said, the diversity aspect of it, to be able to bring out so many different actors from different ethnic backgrounds to the
Hmm.
forefront.
Oh yeah.
Something that we never would have been able to see like 10, 20 years ago.
Oh yeah. Which is super exciting. I'm like, honestly, if I was like like a 7, 8 year old kid and I saw if I saw Shang-Chi, I think my mind would have been blown. I've been
Oh,
so
yeah.
excited.
Absolutely. I think I agree
Oh
with
yeah.
you on that. I mean,
But like a yeah. But I think as a 30-year-old plus adult, like we can't help like, oh, it could have been better. But like, can you imagine how amazing that would be?
because at this point we're looking at the movie.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
we don't focus on the fact that we're seeing the first Asian American superhero.
Which is so cool. And like like a first African American superhero that's so like Black Panther with his own culture and like it's incredible. Like you can't really say, and it's a great stepping stone. And I'm sure what do you call it? Black Panther 2 does a great job
Oh
with that. I
yes,
mean, again,
absolutely.
I just want to stop right
I
there.
don't I don't want to
I
say anything. I like
yeah,
there's
yeah.
so many things I want to say about that
Oh
movie
my
right
god.
now.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
I'll,
say it was phenomenal. They did a very
uh,
good job with it.
yeah. I will. You know what? I want to. I mean, is there anything else we want to talk about this topic? I do want to like bring something up, like Marvel related, that will annoy you a little
Oh
bit.
yeah, what's up?
So, have you looked at what article is this from? The Hollywood Reporter's ranking of Marvel movies.
No, I haven't. Well,
So they ranked all of Marvel movies
mhm,
that came out,
mhm.
and what do you think is in their top five?
Uh,
Top 10. Yeah,
top
yeah.
10.
Top 10. Let's say top 10.
I
Because
probably
a lot
yeah.
of like comic book fans let's just are and like reporter and people like are like super confused by this list because it's a weird list. It's just like why this movie does not belong this low or this high.
Really,
So yeah, it's really
I'm
interesting.
curious. But I gotta like top 5. Let
Yeah.
me guess. Like Endgame, I feel like should be on there.
Okay. Endgame.
Infinity War.
Okay. I'm not gonna correct you, but what do you think? Okay.
Civil War. What else is there? Probably Ragnarok.
All right. So Endgame. So it's a list of 70.
Mm.
Let me see. Endgame is ranked. Oh, it's one word. Endgame is 36.
Jeez.
So Infinity War. Infinity War is sorry.
And these are including like the most recent ones that came out too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think Black Panther 2 is on this list.
Oh, I mean that should be top 3 for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. So let me see. Infinity War is 31st, 31.
Jeez. Who made
What else
this?
was
Who
on
made this list?
exactly. What else is on your list again?
Civil War.
Civil War, yeah, yeah. Civil War. It's 14, which is not terrible.
But no, that's definitely gotta be one of the better ones.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said
What else?
Ragnarok. I think might have been.
Ragnarok. All right, let me see. Thor's Ragnarok. It's 25.
All right. I mean, honestly, that seems about right. I think.
All right, so let me read you. So, where should I go?
Let's go from 5 up to 1.
5 to 1. 5 to 1 kind of makes sense, but not really.
All right.
I just want to tell you the audacity. So let me go from 15 down.
Okay.
So 15
Mm-hmm.
is okay. So and keep in mind this. Whoever wrote this says this is better than Endgame and Infinity War. 15 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Right?
What?
14 Civil War. We're just like really. 13. This is shocking that this is not a top 5 movie. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, they're
So this-
including the
All
Oh, okay.
all Marvel.
All right. Yeah.
So I'm sorry I didn't
I'm-
say that. All like Tom, like everyone, all the Spider-Man.
Okay,
movies,
okay.
like, all of it. Number 12 is Logan. It's not even top 5,
Oh, jeez.
right? So this is, number 11 is is Ant-Man.
This guy really likes Ant-Man.
Yeah, this outranks what do you call it, Logan and Into the Spider-Verse, which is crazy. So number 10,
Uh,
the first Doctor Strange movie.
really? Okay.
Number 9 is the 2000s X-Men,
Okay.
the first one I believe. 8 is X-Men 2. Number 7, this is a weird one, Captain Marvel.
Wow.
Exactly. Number 2 is this first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
Okay, and like 5 to like 1 is like, okay, I see your point. Is Winter Soldier. 4 is Iron Man. Number 3 is Black Panther.
Okay. All right.
And number 2 is Spider-Man 2. And what do you think the first one is? Just hearing this list. And like clearly, like I don't think this is made by a comic book fan, but like if you were like
Oh my
an
gosh.
average person,
I mean,
what do you think is number
after
one?
everything you've told me, I feel like Blade is probably going to be number one.
No. Wait, what is Blade in this list? Blade is Blade is Blade is Blade is 52.
Okay.
What do you call it? So the worst. Wait. So Blade. So the first movie is like the first Avengers movie.
Oh, number one.
Yeah, the first one, which is like, I guess.
I can understand. I mean, I guess in a way, like it started it all and all that stuff.
Yeah, but I'm like, it's definitely not the best.
No, yeah.
Best Marvel movie.
I mean, I won't say that it did blow my. When you first see it, it's like, mind blowing stuff. Like to be able to see that first. But after everything else that's come out, I mean, come on.
I don't think it's the best movie.
What's number 70 then?
Number 70, the worst movie in this list is the
Is it-
Man Thing that came out 2005. I didn't know there was a Swamp Thing.
Oh, so it's not even Morbius?
No, what's Morbius in here? Morbius is 53.
That's pretty high for that movie.
Yo, Blade Trinity is so much better than Morbius.
Yeah, any of the Blade movies would.
Oh, the Punisher movie? That wasn't that bad.
What's that one?
57. What else? Daredevil. Yeah, Daredevil's pretty bad. The Ghost Rider with
Nicolas
Cage. That was 60. And like, I don't want to go down the list. But
these are
like,
just the movies, right?
Yeah. And Fantastic Four, the first movie.
Oh yeah.
That was fun.
Where's that?
That is like pretty low. This person said the second Fantastic Four movie is better than the first one, which came out at 64.
No,
Isn't
he definitely doesn't seem like a comic book guy.
No.
Like he's really just basing it off of his own interest in like the movie itself.
Oh yeah.
Because
Guardians of the Galaxy 2 came out at 43. X-Men Apocalypse outranks it by 42.
oh my gosh,
Right?
that was
I'm like,
rough. Where's Dark Phoenix then?
Dark Phoenix. They did a pretty good job. It's pretty low.
Okay.
It's 49.
Okay.
It beats Morbius though. no, maybe not. But like, especially on Twitter, people are freaking out by this list. They're like, what mad? Like, the theory is whoever made this did it for clicks.
Yeah, I mean, just listening to that, I'm like, this is such clickbait. Like,
Right? Like, it has to be. Because like, it's maddening. I'm like, for me, number one, best Marvel movie from all studios, definitely is Into the Spider-Verse. Number one.
I gotta say, yeah, that was game changer for sure.
Oh yeah. So like, I feel like that's like the best way. I just wanted to make you mad in a different way, because like the Tarantino that got me frustrated. I'm like, okay, let me get David frustrated. So I brought that up.
That is definitely frustrating.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we should make our own list one day.
Oh no, I don't have the energy to do that, David. I think you and I will fight to the death for it.
That sounds like a good
Blade
episode.
is definitely top 20. Oh my gosh, all superhero movies. We just do top 10.
All superhero movies, like
Superhero. You know what we gotta do? We gotta do a bracket.
that's even tougher.
Yeah, and we argue for it. That sounds like fun. I don't know how we'll do that, but
That can be a March Madness special.
Oh yeah, let's do that in March. That'd be hilarious. All superhero, every single superhero
Now
movie.
we're
That'd be
talking
really
like
fun.
this will this includes like Kick Ass or like
No,
just
I
Marvel or
guess
like Marvel DC.
let's let's say comic book. It
Okay.
has there has to be a
I mean,
comic book
technically,
because
Kick Ass.
no, so that makes sense. We'll do superhero movies, comic books, the movies that we saw.
Okay, and they have to be
So,
superheroes. Say like the Kingsman.
oh gosh, yeah, I guess does that count?
I mean, it's a comic book, but they're not like superheroes. It's like a spy thriller, I guess you could say.
Because like Howard the Duck has to be in the story. So we'll see. We'll figure it out. I think this will be fun for
Yeah,
March
I
Madness.
think
We'll
so.
have a bracket. But yeah, I could definitely see Into the Spider Verse winning.
I could see that's definitely gonna make its way up.
Yeah,
So we have
I'd
to
be surprised if it
to
doesn't win.
pull this and like do rankings before we.
Oh yeah. We gotta figure this out.
Yeah.
But that sounds like fun.
All right. So that's coming in a bit, folks.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I saw this list. I'm like, what crackhead wrote this?
I kind of want
Yeah.
to go back to the points that we were making about these Marvel movie stars these days.
Oh,
It's clear cut that Robert Downey Jr. We've already established that he's already made his mark. He was an Oscar runner before the Marvel movies. But then you got guys like Chris Evans, Chris Pratt, even Chris Hemsworth, and like Simu Liu.
It's a lot of Chris's, but yes.
So many Chris's.
Yeah.
Like, have they been successful outside of this Marvel realm, in your opinion, or from what you see?
Ooh. I mean, Chris Evans he was pretty great in what's that mystery ship movie?
Knives Out.
Knives Out. He was fantastic in that. But no, Tarantino has a point saying there's no other movies coming out. But like, I mean, kind of, you have to blame the studio and the time that we live in.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm like, you bring up a point. You could bring up a point that like HBO really changed the way we watch movies nowadays.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially during the pandemic, where you could just, when the movie comes out to theaters, you can just stream it 3 weeks later, which is a crazy concept.
Seriously, and it just really cuts into the whole. I think we discussed this before about how like there are actors who used to take things out of sweat equity, make the money on the back end of everything. But now with this, it's just like they're not making that as much money in the theater.
Yeah, like what's her name? Scarlett Johansson was pretty much screwed over because of that. And like I don't know how far from like suing and lawyers they went up to, but yeah, I feel like because of that, the way we consume media and movies is very different. And I mean, it'd be great to watch them in a different role, but like we will always remember them for who they are. Like for example, Daniel Radcliffe, he will always be Harry Potter.
Yeah, exactly.
But he is, and he's doing some great stuff, like the Weird Al movie. I've heard amazing things about that.
Yes,
that comedy musical biopic.
I gotta say it was really good. It was refreshing to see him in that kind of role.
Oh,
and on top of that, just the way they did approach this movie was exactly what you think it would be, and they did a good job with it.
I saw that one clip where he finds how when he writes the song My Sharona, the My Baloney. It's pretty funny, and like it's great to see them outside. I mean, like again, you're like, hey, like, will this person will always be that character? Like that will always be a huge part. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, no matter how far away he wants to be detached from it, he will always be the Terminator.
Yep.
Not George Harrison, Han Solo. What's his name?
Harrison Ford.
Who's George Harrison? Harrison Ford. What?
Yes, Harrison Ford.
That doesn't sound right. Harrison Ford, no matter how many times he wants to be away from the franchise, no matter how many times he might kill himself in it, he will always be Han Solo.
I mean, he had the fortunate time to be able to play also Indiana Jones, which they're also, they're coming out with a new movie now.
I can't imagine that being great, but yeah.
It's tough to see, but let's see. I mean, I think the guy who's directing it was the guy who did Logan, Mangold.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's gonna be sad, isn't it?
I hope is. I mean,
It's
are
gonna
they
be
gonna
gut
kill him?
wrenching.
Is he gonna die? Is he
Oh, they
not gonna
should
die?
kill him. He should die. I'm like, what are you like?
I mean, at this
That'd be a
point, he's
great way.
probably gonna die with old age, right?
The character, not Harrison
Right,
Ford.
right. Yeah,
Gotta make sure.
exactly. Sorry.
Indiana
Yeah.
Jones. We're gonna be very clear with that. But like,
I mean, I
yeah,
will say,
it's
like, he's gonna. Just as a side note, he's been using a lot of practical effects in this movie, which I always love when they bring out the
I don't.
practical
He's
stuff.
pretty old.
I mean, I'm sure not with him in it.
Okay, I was gonna say like, hasn't he been in multiple plane crashes? And like, I think filming Star Wars, like a door or something fell on him and shattered his legs.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like, and that's why that's why it took so long for like Star Wars to be finished, because like he hurt himself pretty badly. So yeah, just like, bro, take it slow.
Mhm. I mean, so just circling back, I think. I mean,
Mhm.
I think at this point there are a few names who have really established themselves as movie stars, to contradict what Tarantino has been saying.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think one guy who really stands out is probably Chris Hemsworth. Now he's got his hands in a lot of different franchises. He's gonna be part of the new Mad Max movie.
Interesting. Okay.
And he's got his own franchise or he's starting his own franchise with the whole. There's a next Netflix movie, Extraction, like his own.
Okay. Okay.
He's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
coming out as like a movie star or action star in that sense.
Mhm.
And to be fair, I will say if there's going to be one guy who comes out on top out of this whole Marvel universe cast, it would have been Chadwick Boseman.
Oh yeah.
Just like,
Oh yeah. No, 100%.
Just everything that he's done outside of Black Panther is amazing. I think he does such
So
a great job. He's a great actor.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when you get backed by Denzel Washington, that says something.
Oh yeah. And speaking of like posts, like if they were still alive, like who played the Joker in Dark Knight.
Oh, Heath
I'm so
Ledger.
bad.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger. Can you imagine if he was still alive today? The solid gold he would be making.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, and you can like, that's what frustrates me. You cannot say these are not actors. Like, yeah, they're characters, but yeah, the people behind them makes the characters. Like
Mhm.
Chris Pratt, as annoying as he may be in real life, he made this Star-Lord, a character that no one cared about,
Yeah.
into someone that, like, wow, like amazing. This is Andy from the Parks and Recs, a fat guy that's silly, into a semi-serious character. Like, that's pretty great.
Mm. Yeah, no, like you're saying, it's just these actors are bringing these characters to life. And
Yeah.
whatever Tarantino says about that, he can't deny the fact that they are bringing such a large amount of success for this franchise,
Yeah. And yeah. I said this before we recorded, but I don't think Tarantino's a great director.
I don't
I'm
know
joking.
if that's
I'm joking.
true.
No. I'm joking. I've only seen 2 of his movies. I can't really judge that. That'd be really messed up. That's just I'll be pulling a Tarantino if I said that.
No, he's an auteur of his own making,
I think he's found his niche and he sticks with it very well.
Yeah, no, he's got his own unique way of telling stories, and you can't knock that this guy is a true movie lover. And like, this guy went
I
from
agree with
working
that.
in a video store to making these
Oh, yeah.
movies. Like, it's incredible.
He cares about it.
He does.
That's true. I do agree with that.
Yeah. We got to get you to watch these classics, man.
I'm not gonna watch Tarantino.
I mean, it's
I'd
like
rather watch-
Scorsese movies at least.
I mean, I watch Scorsese movies. David, to be honest, I don't think our audience knows. Like, I'm busy. I got twin boys. Like, all I'm watching now. This is so random. Like all I'm watching is Miss Rachel and Bluey, like kids cartoons and just random stuff on YouTube. Anything to give me a second to piece. But you know what I started rewatching on Hulu?
What was that?
It's an old anime from the 2000s or late 90s. Yu Hakusho.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, this is so nostalgic. And I mean, we gotta talk about old anime because like, oh, like this is where like the first tournament arcs, like it's really good.
Yeah, that was amazing.
So we gotta talk about that one day.
Speaking
so
of
super
old
excited.
animes,
Mm-hmm.
they're making they made a live action movie of Knights of the Zodiac. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Is that the one with the pieces that's gold and like makes one giant armor or something like that?
No, I think kind of. It's a little bit like Voltron Power Rangers type of thing. But
Yeah,
like
they all have armor.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
I
interesting.
think I remember. Oh, interesting. So, I think David, we should wrap up this episode.
Oh.
We could just start ranting if we open this avenue.
Absolutely.
Where can our wonderful audience members find us?
As always, you guys could look at the description below. Find us on our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just look for Repitch Podcast. If you guys have any suggestions, you guys like this podcast, like this episode, you guys have suggestions for things we should talk about, shoot us an email at repitchpodcast@gmail.com. And as always, before we head out, big thank you to our friend Joe Yoo, Mr. Panda Mix, for all the sound editing and helping us out with that. You guys can find him with his description below at SoundCloud if you guys want to listen to his stuff.
Yeah, and then guys, thank you. Tune in to Wednesday. We have a special pitch episode where I'm gonna talk about one of my favorite. Try to pitch a movie. Try to pitch a prequel to a movie that shouldn't be pitched. Super excited for that. And yeah,
Yep.
thank you guys because you bring us the views. We bring the reviews. What is it?
We bring you the news.
We bring you the news. that's it. If you looked at the YouTube video, I'm like thinking, what views, pews? I'm like, what did I say?
What is he thinking about right now?
Yeah, I was like, okay, maybe I could think about like a Ryan from Tarantino, but like, no. We disagree. We disagree with Tarantino, so we can say no. Oh, okay, all right, guys, see you later.